We just made them sign their life away. There's Delilah peeking her head out. Maybe coming out, maybe not. I'm not sure if she's really willing to. But there's Kevin. He's not sure either. They want you. Here they come. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause for Kevin and Delilah. Mr. Kevin, here you go.
Thanks so much. Does this work too? Pretty good.
Well, thank you.
I am so happy that this bookstore now has a dog. The best. Yesterday I just bought a book called Voyage of the Dogs?
Yeah,
Greg
Van Nico?
Yes. Yeah, and that's dogs in space. So yeah, basically the humans on the spaceship all kind of croak, and then the dogs are like, all right, we better get this. We have to go get some steak. So something along those lines. I haven't actually read it yet. I just bought it yesterday, but I'm excited to get working on it tomorrow on the plane. Thank you guys for coming. This is so cool of you to be here. Really appreciate it. It's always awesome to come back because I get to go to Rulabula and get to see my family. I just got to meet my newest little cousin back there. That's Shiloh. Hi, Shiloh. So yeah, Shiloh's just a few months old, and wow, she has discovered her tongue. She's been sticking it out as far as it can go, and then if you would like to be drooled on, we can hook you up. And it's so awesome. So I'm glad I got to come out and visit. And I need a new Arizona Diamondbacks hat because I lost it. Yeah, they don't. They don't have them up there at all. So I got to get a new one. And so yeah, hopefully I'll be able to score one of those before I get out of town. And Delilah likes it here too, except for the dry skin thing.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, what's a little couple of skin flakes between friends. I haven't had a nosebleed yet, so you guys are in luck. It could still happen.
Yeah, it happens a lot, I guess. I did not realize, but having grown up here, but yeah, even now, when I come back, I notice that my skin dries out a heck of a lot faster than I guess it used to. I'm not as acclimated to it as I was, but.
Moistness.
Yes. We are so happy that you guys are here for No Country for Old Gnomes. If you like to Kill the Farm Boy, then you will dig this too. You'll notice some of the returning characters, but you don't have to have read Kill the Farm Boy to enjoy this. You can start dive in on book 2 if you'd like. And I think that the Princess Beard will be out on October 8th, and that's the 3rd book of the Tales of Hell. This one has some shots at Tolkien in it. You're going to kind of, we wanted to mess around. Loving, very loving. We wanted to play around with some of the Tolkien stuff with halflings and gnomes. Did you ever notice that the halflings were always just super awesome as an entire species, and nobody ever did anything wrong? So we're like, well, what if there was like halfling organized crime? And we also, the dwarves were always like, they dug too greedily and too deep, and you know what they found, And we thought, well, what if that was only part of the dwarven society, and actually the rest of dwarven society liked to live above ground, way up high in the mountains instead, pursue other things, and it was just the sort of the malcontents that became greedy. So that was something we had fun with, and then we also noticed that gnomes didn't really seem to have a culture except hanging out in human gardens, so maybe we could develop them a little bit. And then, you should tell them about the whole thing with the griffin, what happened there.
Yeah, so Kevin and I, we needed to come up with this book because your publisher likes it when you write a book. And we were at a conference together in New Orleans, and we decided to story break the book there. So Kevin took me to Frenchman Street for the first time, and we went from bar to bar, having a drink, having a nibble, and then kind of drawing from the things we heard and saw. And we didn't put that mule in the hat in there, which is a mistake. But we were at a hotel that was just emblazoned with griffins. Like the windows were griffins, the coasters were griffins. Griffins were on the cards, and we're like, what if there was a griffin? And they were like, well, you know what? Griffins are supposed to be like mythical, beautiful, dangerous. And like, what if she's just really flatulent?
You expect, oh, oh, noble creature. Yes. So that's what we were having fun with there, and we also have I actually asked myself,
Kevin,
what?
the dog is here.
I know. I actually asked myself, why don't we ever see the male version of dryads? Nobody ever talks about it. You know what? They're called dryads. Now you know. Fun fact. Take with you. And so we have them in there as well, and then we have some other goodies. We have some automatons. We have a half human, half sheep.
A shader.
A shader. And Ovatar.
Kleptomaniac shader.
Yeah. So we have a great time with these. We hope you guys enjoy all these kind of goofy characters and their journey. There's a lovely sonnet in there about crunching squirrels, because I thought nobody had ever written a sonnet about that before.
It's really fun to write a book with like an English teacher.
I was like, what would Griffin poetry be about? If I used the sonnet format, what would be the subject matter? And so yeah, I think I've got
Unrequited love and squirrel bones.
Yes, squirrel bones. How crunchable they are. That's great. So we're going to just tell you a little bit about what else we're working on, and then we'll do some Q&A with y'all, because we want to make sure that you get whatever you're curious about, satisfied before you go, so you can go away with something besides just a signature. We want to make sure you're happy. And so stuff that I'm working on besides the Tales of Pell with Delilah, I have the sequel to A Plague of Giants coming out. It's called The Blight of Blackwings. And I'm editing that now, and it should be out about a year from now, in the spring of 2020. And yeah, thank you. I'm so glad somebody's read it. Thank you. I'm super happy and proud of that series. So, that's on deck. And then the other thing I'm working on is a spin-off, sort of the Iron Druid Chronicles. And it's called Ink and Sigil. And I've got about a quarter of the first book done already. And it's due in September, which means that about a year from then you'll get it. So fall of 2020, you'll get Ink and Sigil. And if you're wondering, like, who's this about, what's going on, how many of you have read Besieged? I'm sure not all of you, but quite a few. Cool. So this side, for some reason, has not read it. What's up? Just the big, that's weird. Like all this side.
Guess what you guys are buying tonight.
Yeah. So in Besieged, there is a story called Cuddle Dungeon, and this fella shows up, and he just shows up for a couple of lines, and they say he's the Scots wizard. They're sort of dismissive. He speaks 2 lines, but he was so weird because of the context, like where he was and how he behaved bizarrely from everybody else in that situation. And I was like, what is up with that guy? And I wanted to write more about him. And I went to my editor and I said, can I do this? And she said, yes. So I'm like, woo! So it's set in Glasgow, Scotland, but also Philadelphia and Chattanooga, because I like to write about cities that a lot of folks don't write about. That's why I wrote about Tempe. I wanted to make it, so everybody who's from here would recognize the places. So I've done the same thing with Ink and Sigil. If you're from Philadelphia or Chattanooga, you will recognize these places, and if you're not from there and you want to go there someday, you can find the places I'm talking about. So, and the same with Glasgow. It's a really interesting city. It's not, Edinburgh is the one that really gets a lot of tourism because, oh my God, Gothic architecture, which is fantastic. But Glasgow has a whole bunch of stuff going on as well. They have a necropolis that is just amazing. The City of the Dead. It's fantastic.
I think you mean a necropolis.
Necropolis! And yeah, I hope you guys will dig it. It's a new magic system, but you will recognize some characters from Iron Druid. The 2 of the Danon are there, and Coriander, and stuff like that. So you'll see them in there. And but the Druids will be mentioned, but a lot of Easter eggs, basically, if you're an Iron Druid fan, that you will not have had need to have read Iron Druid to appreciate Ink and Sigil, because it is going to be its own thing. So I hope you guys dig it. I'm having a blast. So, yeah. One more Iron Druid thing. Well, 2. One is Death and Honey that Delilah is in as well as Lila Bowen. Hey, look at this! You are so. It's like I made him sit right there. Can you believe it? So this is Death and Honey, and it has novellas in it from me and Delilah and Chuck Wendig, and they have a few copies back there. A few. And can I just, it's so pretty. It's already signed by all of us. These are all limited editions, so it's numbered, and then also it has color illustrations inside, which you don't see a lot. And so there's 3 color illustrations plus the frontispiece and something else going on here, I think.
It's very attractive end papers.
Yes, you can pet them.
Shiny.
They have texture. So yeah. So that's one thing. It came out in February, and if you don't want to do print, there's ebook and audio as well. And then that has an Oberon's Beady Mystery in it. So that is told from Oberon's point of view, and it's set 5 months after the events of Scourged. So it's Atticus, Oberon, and Starbuck in Tasmania, and there's shenanigans that ensue, and it's a lot of fun. So if it's the happy ending maybe you were looking for. So there you go. I hope you would dig that. And then the other thing that I have coming out this summer, I don't have an exact date yet, but pay attention to my social media or whatever, my website. I will have a collection of short stories coming out that most of them are reprints, but there's one real new one that's called First Dangle, and it is an Owen in slow-mo story. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. The reprints are short stories that appeared in anthologies elsewhere that you probably might have missed. One is The Naughtiest Cherub, which features Loki going down to hell to talk to Lucifer right before Ragnarok to make sure the devil is not going to interfere. That was a lot of fun for me to write. Then there's a very short Grindwell story called The Waters. There's another one called The Chapel Perilous, and that has been out for a very long time, but what I'm doing is I'm including it here because Luke Daniels never recorded the audio, and that is necessary. So you'll have, basically, these are all going to be stories, while some of them are reprints, they're all stories that Luke has never recorded before. So for audio fans, that will be all new stuff by him. And First Angle is going to be just all new, period. So, and the artwork will be Owen in slow-mo, and it'll be by the same artist who did Death and Honey, Galen Dara. She lives down in Tucson. She is so amazing. And she's also done the interior illustrations for that book as well. So that's the Iron Druid stuff and all I'm up to, and Delilah is up to a ton of stuff as well.
I have to talk now. I just chilling out listening to you.
Yeah, sorry. It's your turn.
Man, yeah. So I guess most of my stuff right now is either Star Wars or comics. So I've got Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Black Spire out the end of August, which is based on the Disneyland and Disney World, the New World Galaxy's Edge that you can visit. If you don't want to go with your 6 million greatest friends and try to battle your way toward 8 hours for waiting to see the Millennium Falcon, you can just read my book. And, or you can take it and read it in line, but it follows the same course that you would walk and tells you what you're seeing. And you're like, what does that tree mean? Oh, I can tell you. Who is this person? Oh, I can tell you. What do you eat and drink here? This is what it is. So yeah, that's like your next closest thing to being at Galaxy's Edge, plus a story featuring Vi Marati and Cardinal from the Phasma book that I wrote in 2017. I also have a Star Wars storybook called The Skywalker Saga that's going to be the super beautiful, fully illustrated edition with paintings by Brian Rood of episodes 1 through 8 through the lens of the Skywalkers and the Force users. So instead of opening the entire saga with some really angry men sat around a table talking about trade embargoes, you start with like a little boy on a desert planet dreamed he was a magic wizard. So it starts a little bit more excitingly. I have comics. I have a new creator-owned one called Star Pig. It's about a giant space tardigrade. Right? So it's kind of 80s, 90s nostalgia and a teen girl who is saved by this giant floating space tardigrade that you can ride inside like he's a giant pink floppy RV with a face that kind of looks like a butt. I write Marvel Action Spider-Man for IDW, so if you have kids or if you yourself are like, I'd like to read a Spider-Man comic, but I don't want to read 60 years of back issues in various universes, you can read Marvel Action Spider-Man. It's the modern continuity. It has Peter and Miles and Gwen Stacy. That's out from IDW, and Oh yeah, I also have a comic called Sparrowhawk that we call Teen Victorian Fairy Fight Club. Just like if Alice in Wonderland, if Alice had to like kill a bunch of stuff to get back home, instead of just like getting insulted by flowers. Thank you, Lee. Lee. Yeah, so right now it's just 5 issues that are floppy, but we should have a trade paperback later this year.
You have a Lady Castle one?
Yeah, I have a Lady Castle trade paperback. That's old news. Yeah, Lady Castle. There we
Isn't
go.
that awesome?
This is such a good.
Yeah, it is amazing.
And then
Yeah.
somebody produced a gluten-free cake and a kitten. Doors back there. Yeah, so Lady Castle, if you like Monty Python and you ever thought that strange women in lion and pawns distributed swords might be a great basis for a system of government, then Lady Castle is definitely the comic for you.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, so that is what we are up to. We have a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, we're working on. Delilah actually has the manuscript for the Princess Beard with her, and is going to be finishing.
Not right
up.
now. Don't mob me. It's locked in my hotel room.
Yeah, should be finishing it up on the plane. Doing the last edits on it.
Adding all those extra R's to the parrot's speech.
Yeah. If you guys have looked at the map of the Tales of Pell, that thing is a lot. That was a lot of fun.
Which Kevin drew that.
Yeah, and the Princess Beard is basically all around the sea part of it because it's more of a pirate story. And the lady that was in Kill the Farm Boy, who woke up or did not wake up, I'm sorry, in the tower. That Thea found the lady in the tower. She just slept the whole time. Well, she wakes up, and that is, so the Princess Beard is about, her and the shenanigans and adventures that she has with some friends that she finds along the way.
It's not a Sleeping Beauty deal. She does not wake up like completely beautiful and permanently beautiful. There's like hair problems and excess toenails and keratin because like 20 years.
Yeah, fingernails have gotten all yellow and curled. She's been asleep for a little while. So, yeah, it's a good time. And the beard. Yeah.
Oh, and also, if you enjoy the Tales of Pell, there's a book called Unfettered that is put out by Grim Oak Press. It's a big old honkin' brick of a book with stories by Tad Williams, Terry Brooks, Frank Herbert's kid, like Dune Jr. basically. But we have a deleted scene from No Country for Old Gnomes that we didn't quite have room for because we went over, but we put it in there.
Yeah, it's pretty fun stuff. So check it out if you like that. You would get introduced to a whole bunch of other authors that you might be pursuing afterward by reading their short stories. So there you have it. That's what we're up to. How about y'all? You having a good time?
Yeah.
Are the Diamondbacks doing any good this year? I don't know. And the enthusiasm went. Well, do you have any questions for us? Because we'd love to.
When you write a book together, how do you, obviously you don't write together, how does that work? Do you like ship it back and forth, or?
Well, Kevin's left-handed and I'm right-handed, so this is really close.
Now, what we do is we do story break it and come up with the general ideas. Here are the characters, and here's what they're trying to accomplish in their quest, and here's sort of also their character arc, like how do they change throughout the story, and how do they grow. And then we actually do outlines together, kind of going back and forth. In that, Delilah should tell you she makes the noises. Yeah. So, no, but it's like, oh, honey, what if we did that?
Oh yeah, I throw out the ridiculousness. But yeah, we aim for around 30 chapters and an outline, very loosely based. Oh my God, we should do this. Oh yeah, we should do this.
See, I couldn't do that.
We get really excited. It's very high pitched.
Yeah.
And then we take turns taking the chapters, and of course if one of us is really like, oh man, I want to write that, then we'll switch off back and forth, but mainly Kevin writes a chapter and sends it to me, and I squeal over it and write comments about it that are all positive and loving, and edit it, and then I write it's true, that's not hyperbole. Oh my God, you're so funny! And then I write my chapter and send it back to him, and he edits it.
Yep. So we just kind of go back and forth that way. I know that that's not the way everybody writes as a partnership. Some people say, this is my character and that's your character, and we're going to write these two characters and we're going to smoosh them together. Which is fine. Everybody has to work at their own dynamic of how they want to do things. But we didn't have a thing where we owned any particular character or whatever. We both wrote each other's characters all the time. Like Lord Toby, for example. I came up with the name the Dark Lord Toby,
The
the
crepuscular
crepuscular lord, right? But then what happened was that Delilah wound up writing that first chapter with Lord Toby, and by the same token, Delilah made up Fia, the incredibly strong warrior who really just wants peace. And
that's the chainmail bikini, but it's because it's on layaway. Like she's
Right.
working on getting the rest of it.
Yeah. So she made up that character, but then I wound up writing that first chapter with Fia and getting to know her through that process. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. We work on each other's stuff all the time. So ideally, that what you get is you when you read it, you don't necessarily know who wrote what. You can't tell, hopefully.
Well, then at the end, it's like we have a second draft basically because we've each already edited each other's work. So like, if you're lazy, it's a really good process. You write half a book and then like you're already edited twice. So it's nice.
Yeah. It's cool. We dig it. Thank you. Yes.
So what's the mule in New Orleans story?
We were wandering down the street. So when we go to New Orleans, we don't have a map. We're not like, we need to go here, we need to go here. We're like, oh my God, that looks like a smoothie store. The smoothies are margaritas, and there's 9 colors. And the girl running the machine says, cool air. And then we walk out with 2-foot-tall margaritas with twisty straws, congratulating each other on our good life choices. And then we wandered into a mule wearing a hat. So we sent pictures of us with 2-foot-tall, like spring break style slushies with a mule. But that's our process. It's all discovering and wonderment and.
Yeah, the mule was in this very weird store. Like, you walk in and you think it's going to be this tiny little store, but it just kept going. And it was room after room of like consignment
like a
shops.
skeleton and like a jalopy.
Yeah. And then there was one place, it was like, here's a bunch of skateboards, but I've painted Day of the Dead stuff on it. And I'm like, well, that's an unusual artistic, vision, but how cool. So, and I wasn't expecting to see that here. So, yeah, it was a really cool store.
And then
In which
Princess
we bought
Beard, we
nothing.
did this, we broke the Princess Beard at Seattle Comic Con, well after Seattle Comic Con obviously, but in Seattle, so we wanted to have Spam Musubi for the first time, and when you have Spam Musubi, they have 2-foot-tall Mai Tais, so we're really good at finding 2-foot-tall drinks.
Yeah, so that's how we do it. We just basically kind of draw from, the place that we're at, and, Seattle has this it's a wonderful port city, and it's got all this, the sea associated with it, and so that's kind of how we got this, big pirate adventure kind of going there. It was great. We loved it. Anybody else?
One of the things that I like. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, now you have to fight.
Your editor. you were talking about your editor and asking him if you could actually write something. Why are you asking your editor if you can write something?
Oh, okay. So yeah, even though it's can I write something and you pay me? I left that part off. Will you pay me if I write this? That was really the question. I didn't phrase it properly. Yes, I of course can write anything I want, but they are not obligated to pay me. So that was really what the question was all about. It all comes down to I do want to write what I am interested in, what I find amusing and fun, because if I'm having fun writing it, hopefully you'll have fun reading it. And that's kind of where I was wanting to go at the time with and I still want to go with the ink and sigil and this new magic system. So yeah, there you go. And then somebody else started to ask. Yes,
I was going to say I've enjoyed following you on your research on ink and sigil. Your experience, is that commonplace for other writers to do that kind of in situ research, or?
No, I wouldn't say it's commonplace. I mean, I started out here,
right?
Because I could get from Scottsdale to Mesa and back, but which was about all I could do, at the time. And this time, I'd always wanted to go over to the UK, and I'd never made it over there, so it was really like a working vacation. It was the sort of like, hey, Kimberly, would you like to go to a green place with me? It'll be sheep. And so she said, yeah, let's do this. We'll go to Loch Ness and all that kind of stuff. But then I get to actually call it a business trip as well, so that was cool. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, it just kind of as somebody it's like the super high bar. I'm like, wow, how am I ever gonna afford to?
Well,
You know?
well, then I also, yeah, I mean, I've been to Chattanooga for other reasons, and so that's a place that I have been a couple of times. I have a friend who lived there, and there was a festival up there, things like that. So I've been there before, and I didn't make a special. Glasgow is a place that I had to go specially, but then also Philadelphia is a place that I fly in and out of quite a bit, and I've got some friends who live there and hang out with them. So that's how I've managed to pick those up. But yeah, Glasgow I'd never been and wasn't about to just casually get there somehow. So I had to make a special trip for that one, and you know, wound up being this awesome vacation that we got to escape snow for 2 weeks. That's really what it was all about, you know. So yeah, it really dumped while we were gone too. So we were like, haha, we win. Anybody else? Yeah.
When you came up with the squirrel sonnet, did you kind of have to think about giving that to Oberon or the Griffin?
Well, yeah, the squirrel thing, I know that the thing is that the Griffin doesn't have any difficulty catching the squirrels, where Oberon does. He doesn't like the squirrels because he can never get them. They're way too fast for him. But the Griffin has no problem with that, and the Griffin is dealing with some other issues. There's really, you know, the squirrel bones are just sort of a way into love, shall we say. And yeah, you'll see it when you get there. And I giggled a lot while I was writing it. Because it was English teacher geekery, you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, I had an English teacher teach me how to do a sonnet, and here's what I do with it. Yeah.
And he also, the name of the Griffin poet who is known for this poetry, the Griffin's name is Herp Blep.
We had a lot of fun. Actually, we should tell them about the naming thing on the site.
Oh yeah! You can totally get your own name from Pell. You go to talesofpell.com, and then
There's a page called About Pell,
yeah,
and one of them said on that page are two things, and one is the map, which you already have in the book, but the other thing is Give Me Pell. And so what you do is you click a gender, male, female, non-binary, and you pick one of those, and then you pick one of the 9 different species. You could be a halfling, a gnome, a human, elf, griffin, giant,
centaur, giant.
Yeah. So you could be any of those, and then it'll generate for you a name of that particular kind and where you're from in Pell, so you could find it on the map, and then also a little fun factoid about yourself. So, you know, and you could use this for, you know, role-playing games generations or anything like that you would like. And it's a lot of fun. You can do it over and over again. It's really easy because you're only making 2 choices, and then it spits out this fun thing for you. So it's a good time. And yeah, we still kind of laugh over the things you'll get out of it because we created all the little combinations of things that you can be, and the little comments afterward, like, you know, you have an unhealthy relationship with tapioca pudding. things like that, you know. So, did I answer your question? I hope I did. This is what happens when you ask me something. Yes.
Okay, for Delilah, how much did you squeeze getting to write a book about the Disneyland Star Wars?
Oh, I squeezed so much. Well, because it was originally pitched as, you know, would you like to write Vi and Cardinal? And I'm like, well, yes, of course. I want to see what happens to them. But then it was like, oh, by the way, here's the backdrop. But I haven't been there yet. They're having trouble getting anybody in. You know, if you don't work for like a big site like, you know, EW or IO9 or whatever. So yeah, I have like extensive documents, maps, photographs, but the map is like the size of it's like the size of a greeting card, and you can't blow it up. And they put your name on top of everything as a watermark, so you can't be like, you know, putting it up on the internet. If you try to put it up, they're gonna be like, oh, Delilah's Dawson, hello. We'd like to talk to you, and then Mickey Mouse shows up going, oh, Delilah, you're really messed up this time. They drag you into the tunnels. So, yeah, it's fun though. I got to talk to the Imagineers on the phone. Like the Imagineers who made up Galaxy's Edge took some time out of their day to answer my questions. My first question was, what does it smell like? And there was like this pause, and they were like, we didn't even think about that. Because if you've been to Pandora at Disney World, like they come up with this smell that's kind of an oceanish, bluish kind of light floral smell that when you ride the flights of passage in Pandora, you're walking through Pandora, you smell it. You're like, oh, Pandora smell. And I was like, well, what's the smell of Galaxy's Edge? And they're like, well, meat. Because there's several restaurants. There's one called Ronto Roasters that I guess they like pump meat smell. And I was like, yeah, well, spices, space monkeys, like sitting there like, well, right now just meat. And I was like, I should like make a smell for this because meat is not what you want to be known for. Yeah, but they're super nice and super cool. It was all just complete thrill.
A question for you.
Yeah.
This may be the only question I ask tonight.
Is the answer meat?
I don't know. The question is, what does blue smell like? I want to know.
Oh, yeah, so I have synesthesia. My wires get crossed. Like, all of my letters and numbers have colors, days of the week have colors, and I have, like, good or bad. Like, I don't like 5. It's a really pretty blue, but, like, I don't trust it, so I won't set an alarm. For 5, I'll wake up at, like, 6:22 or 7:14 or something. If you're like, let's wake up at 5:05, and I'm like, that's going to be a bad day. Bad things will happen, yeah. But blue is, like, oceanic, kind of, like, salty, clear, transparent, but I mean, it's yellow. What Pandora smells like. Have you smelled it? 'Cause you can buy candles online that smell like Disney's Pandora because the smell is so like. I walked past somebody in a hallway once and was like, "You smell like Pandora. What is that?" And she's like, "I found it on Etsy. Don't tell anybody. It's not licensed."
Any other questions? Yes.
For either of you, do you listen to music when you write? And if you do, what do you listen to?
Yeah, I have playlists for every book I write. I use it to condition myself to be in that world. So like when I'm, story breaking, dreaming up characters, driving in my car, I listen to that playlist, and that way, whenever I need to write, I turn on the playlist. It's like boom, I'm right there. The great thing is that I can write anywhere as long as I have earbuds. The bad thing is that after I've made that playlist, like the songs are kind of used up, so I can't use songs I really like. I have to go on Spotify and kind of collect songs that have the right feel, because afterwards they're like these dried husks where I'm like, that song. I remember that time. It was a dark time. Yeah, if you go on Spotify and you look at Delilah S. Dawson, you can see all of my books have playlists. And then to edit, I listen to, yeah, they're all on there. And then there's also some there's like one called Embarrassing Drudgery that's all like the Carly Rae Jepsen and Taylor Swift I listen to when I'm cleaning my house. But yeah, and then there's this awesome YouTube channel that Chuck Wendig told me about, and it's like lo-fi hip-hop beats to study for, or to study with. And if you pull it up, it's a live stream 24 hours a day, and there's a picture of like a giggly-looking little girl studying. But it's the coolest, just like chill music. It's like one step up from white noise. It's amazing. So that's what I added to, because there's no words.
I do the no words thing too. I listen to instrumental stuff. So it's,
you listen to dwarf thrash uke bands.
Yes, I do. So it's either instrumental metal, or if I'm trying to write something where there's fighting and stabbing. And then I will also listen to classical music and sometimes jazz, but I don't ever want to say that it's smooth. It's just chill jazz, not smooth. Because the guy who says smooth jazz, it's like you're doing something. Where are your hands? Show me your hands. So yeah. I'm so glad I said it that way instead of a different way. There are kids here. So any other questions? Yes, sir.
Listening to a lot of your Iron Druid series on audiobooks, because I drive a lot for work. I was wondering if you ever plan to use graphicaudio.net for your narrations for your characters.
I don't have any current plans for that. I've heard good things about them. I haven't personally listened to any of those particular productions.
Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah, I've heard of awesome stuff. I've heard like a tiny clip, so I can't say, I haven't listened to anything, but I've heard tiny bits. And yeah, they do all the sound effects, and they have different voices and all kinds of great stuff. But I have no current plans to do that because Luke Daniels is really good with doing all the different voices, and so it's not really necessary to kind of go that extra step because he practically can do it all himself.
Well, they just have the sound effects and
yeah.
the background story. I mean,
It's
you really
very
get
cool.
into it,
Yeah, I got you. Luke is actually with us in Chicago. He lives around up in that kind of chunk of the Midwest. and so he will join us if we're sort of up there. And so yeah, he came down. He did a live reading of GNOMES, and that was a lot of fun. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Thank you.
You betcha. You betcha.
Since we're talking about audiobooks, so are you planning on having audiobooks for the last two of the
Yeah, so
Republic?
publishing can be a very unfortunate and sometimes ugly business. The editor who bought the first two Wake of Vultures books also bought the audiobooks. Robin Miles did them, and she did a phenomenal job. She does all of my short stories for that series too, including the Death and Honey one. And then that editor bought the second two books in that series so I could finish it, and she left the publisher. Then I got a new editor, and then a couple weeks after that, she left. So I'm on my third editor over there now, and as you can see, there's no marketing, there's no publicity, they're not in stores, and they didn't make the audiobooks. So don't be an orphan, you guys. But I want to, like, I guess my biggest hope is that maybe we'll pull a Game of Thrones, and one day, like, Netflix will make a Wake of Vultures series, and then we can get those audiobooks. I'm so sorry they're not there. I would read them aloud myself, but I think you'd be really disappointed.
Why don't you share your publisher with or is
He
not-
does now. I've gone over to the dark side. That is
She's-
Del Rey.
She's polyamorous.
Yeah, that's why that series is Lila Bowen. It's the only series I have that's with a different publisher. Because I'm with Del Rey now, and I love them, and I want to stay with them forever. So if you guys are listening, I love you.
But I mean, Del Rey does Star Wars too. So yeah, between Star Wars and then the Tales of Pell, those are all Del Rey books.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As is the Iron Druid.
Yes, absolutely. Iron Druid is Del Rey. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Paul? I mean, not Paul.
Paul's dad.
Paul's dad. I'm sorry. Where I just really exposed where my priorities are. It's the dog. I'm sorry.
I know all about that.
Tell us a little bit about your international publishing. What languages are you publishing?
Okay. International publishing. German, Polish, Hungarian, Slovakian, Russian, Japanese, Spanish,
You think they get the translation right?
Thai. I think I'm in Thai as well. I don't know about all of them. I can't check all the translations. I sure hope they did. It's kind of interesting how some of them will do. In Germany, apparently, they will copyright titles so that when they come up with a title for your stuff over there, they have to come up with something that's, not a direct translation of Hounded, for example. It was something else. And then in Poland, they did a very interesting series of things with the titles there. Since I was doing sort of puns, like they're one-word titles, but they have multiple meanings because of what happens in the story, right?
Oh my god, I just got it.
So
I was today years old and I became a better friend.
So, because they have that wordplay going on, in Poland they tried to do the same thing, but it wasn't a single word. They would have phrases that evoked Polish movies and stuff, pop culture stuff that would be very familiar to Polish readers, but would mean absolutely nothing to somebody who typed it in on Google Translate. So I was told that those are fantastic translations, and I actually met that translator, and she's very cool about emailing me about things like, what did you really mean here, because there's no direct Polish, analog for this, so we gotta come up with something. What were you talking about? So yeah, but others don't tell me anything at all or contact me at all. They just do their job. Oh, Czech, that's another one I'm translating. So I'll occasionally get questions from some of them about one thing or another, but mostly from the Polish translator, because apparently Polish has a hard time translating words that I make up, and I do that a lot. Especially with the Plague of Giants, she was really getting mad at me. It was like, why do you keep making up these animals? It's like, how am I going to translate, a murder weasel? So yeah, that was just a problem with that particular language. German is really good for that. German is, you want to make up a new word, German is ideal. They'll make up new words all the time. And that's why what's the German word for this? Yeah, they got a word for it. So that's kind of been a fun thing about international publishing, but I can't. There's nothing predictable about it, and I sometimes find out that it's been published, days later, after it's actually happened. They don't have me do any publicity for it at all, because of course I'm not really tied into their social media over there or anything. So, there you go. Yes.
Are your Polish switches still Polish in the Polish version?
Yeah. Actually, I was big in Poland for a while. Yeah. They like the Polish witches because. And they're like, it's so nice to see our people represented, and they're badasses instead of a joke or something like that. Because unfortunately, they come over here and they hear a lot of those jokes, right? So they don't dig it, of course. Nobody would. So it's the Polish people usually kind of get left out of a lot of stories, and it just felt super nice to be included. So yeah. Anybody else? Yes, sir. And then we have another sir over there.
The Prince's Beard. How many more volumes can we expect after that, or is it going to continue on, or do we have any plans?
If y'all keep buying it and keep telling everybody else to, yeah. It's seriously. Unfortunately, I mean, things like that, we'll try 2 or 3 books and see what happens, right? And then if they sell well enough and they get happy, then they'll want more from us. And it's unfortunately just a bottom line thing. It's not whether they like it or not. It's whether we sold enough copies. So we would love to write some more, but we just don't know yet. We've got to get to the end of this, and then hopefully you will tell everybody to buy it, and they actually will. Yeah. So that's. I wish I gave you a better answer, but right now it's just the 3. So yes.
Do you have a favorite shenanigan you've written from Tales of Hell at all?
The shenanigans from Tales of Hell?
Yeah, favorite thing we've done.
I because I'm, no knee deep in Princess Beard. I just really love it when our centaur goes to the Temple of Womb.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a centaur. Okay, there's a centaur wizard in the Princess Beard, and it's on the cover. You'll see, we have an animal on every cover. The first one, of course, well, we've got the little chicken and the farm boy and all that. The second one, we got the griffin and the gnome. And then the third one, you'll see the centaur with a little cup of tea, and he's got the pinky up and everything. So
we were very particular about that with the artist. Like, it was important.
we actually critiqued the mullet as well. Centaur's got a mullet. Didn't do it right. Yeah. So anyway, the centaur is a lot of fun. Yeah, for a lot of reasons, I really dig the centaur too. Somebody tries to. There's an old joke about centaur kidneys and organs because they've got. Okay, this is like stupid stuff because. All right, sorry. This is the kind of thing that drives my wife nuts because I get to research these things and then she's like, "I can't believe you spent all day doing that. And you're going to get paid for it." Because I was like looking at centaur anatomy, like how does it work? Because you got the torso, but then you got also another bonus horse torso. All right, so. Where's all the poop go? Well, it all comes out the horse end, but how does it get there from the human end? And so there's actually 2 esophageal, there's a valve in there. You can have the food go to the horse stomach or the human stomach. And then there's 2 sets of colons and 2 sets of kidneys. So what happens is that the human one winds up going to feed into the horse one, so you have what is called a common rectum, although our centaur says, no, I have an extraordinary rectum. And then same thing for the kidneys. You got the 4 kidneys because you have the 2 human ones and then the horse ones. And so because of that issue where you have multiple, versions of a certain organ, their centaurs are kind of hunted for their bonus organs, what other species consider to be bonus, but the centaurs feel are vital. They're paranoid about humans and other dwarves or whatever just coming to take their kidneys. So there's an episode where. He grew up with songs about don't walk into human cities, they're going to try to take your kidneys, right? I mean, he's got the song in his head. It's like a nursery rhyme that they teach all the centaur kids. And so he goes into a human city.
Wait, first then, so he's like, that old chestnut. He's like, my mom was a chestnut!
The puns just don't get any better. And they keep getting better, maybe. I should say it that way. But anyway, then what happens is that he actually goes in and he's eating oatmeal. He's been on the ship for a long time. He needs some grains. And then he starts to get a little woozy, and he realizes he's been drugged, and they are going to try to steal his kidneys. But he can't say kidney anymore because his speech has become slurred. So, just a kidney! It's that kind of thing that's going on, and, you know, mayhem erupts, and I thought the whole attempted kidney thievery was a lot of fun when I wrote that bit. So.
See, this is our writing process. Kevin spent an entire day researching centaur physiognomy. There were probably maps involved.
There was. There was diagrams and everything. It was like, well, so this urethra goes over here. Yeah.
So my part of the partnership is I get this chapter and I'm editing it, and I just added in the drunken centaur line. Oh, it's after me lucky arms.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my contribution.
Which of course I loved. So always after me lucky arms. I gotta love that. So.
Old Gnomes. What's your favorite part of Old Gnomes? I think I like Wilbur the Wildebeest.
Yeah, there's a wildebeest in there.
It's like a wildebeest, but it boasts a lot.
About how awesome he is.
Dr. Merkimer was fun.
Dr. Merkimer was fun. I really like the dwarvish spas. So the idea is that dwarves are into, you know, long luxurious baths and massages and stuff like that. And you have traditional service, you know, then there's traditional dwarvish service where you don't just get a meal at the end, you get all of these other, like a spa day, you know, kind of going on. Your beard gets braided and, you know, there's unguents and oils and things. So
you get unguents and ungulates.
Yeah, all those things. So yeah, it was a good time. I think I can't remember. I'm in beard mode too because we've been working on it so much recently, and this is like Gnomes is now about a year removed from where we were, so it's harder for me to remember specific things. But I love the chapter titles in here and the chapter epigraphs because those were a lot of fun to do. That was a little homage to Dune because they kept having those epigraphs in Dune. And sometimes I was like, oh, that was interesting. And then sometimes I was like, why did you write that? So we try to have fun with the epigraphs and have a good old time. It's a puppy. Anybody else? Yes?
How much of your inspiration comes before versus after the 2 foot tall drinks?
Yes.
I don't think we've ever quantified it. but
after a couple of them, you can't count.
Yeah.
Schrodinger's
The-
inspiration.
You know, the product is in front of you. That's all I can say. It all gets done in the end. So, but I don't know how much of the 2 foot tall drinks. Mine was delicious, by the way. I mean, I know that wasn't your question, but I just wanted to give you an answer.
So in other words, a good time was had by us.
Yes, a good time. Yes. Was there somebody else over here? I thought, yes.
How's the Iron Druid comic series going?
Oh,
And
thanks.
also, are there any other series from either of you that you're wanting to turn into comics?
Delilah would do comics for just about anything. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Your
I
comic.
kind of I have more comics coming out than books over the next year.
Yeah.
But my Wake of Vultures series feels cinematic to me. I would love to see that as something visual, whatever it was. But yeah, like anything they wanted, I would be. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Thank you for asking.
So the Iron Druid comic stuff is not going to happen anymore. You got the 2 issues, and that's all we get. I haven't even been paid, y'all. So that company went and
That's why they haven't emailed me.
yeah. So that's not good. They're pretty much broke. And unfortunately, I wish I had better news, but I did really enjoy the 2 issues they did. I love the artwork. I love what they were doing with it. It's just that on the business side of things, they weren't really paying attention very well, and unfortunately, that had to end. I've scrapped the contract and all that good stuff. And now, you know, maybe I'll get paid someday. I don't know. Yeah.
On the same topic, any plans for like a real graphic novel made with a different company? Or that?
Well, that's not something I can really plan necessarily. Like I can, hey guys, do this, and they have to really come to me, you know. And the same thing for like TVs and movies and stuff like that. I mean, I can't make any of that stuff happen. That has to be somebody with a giant bag of money and a taste for high-risk investments. Because that's what movie and TVs are, right? They're spending millions and millions of dollars up front, hoping it will pay off in a giant box office. And if it's not, like that recent Hellboy thing, oh my god, right? Because they spent $100 million on it and it made 12. So that's a high-risk investment, right? But on the other hand, you know, if you, that's why you keep getting sure things though, like why they keep trying what they think are sure things, which is comic book stuff or superhero stuff, because they've got kind of proven track record of being successful and at least making your money back, hopefully. So that's why you keep getting more Marvel stuff and more DC stuff and so on and so forth. There you go. Anybody else?
Because we can sign. Whoa. We can suddenly get a really loud mic. We can sign books for you.
Yeah, we can do that too.
We can. Kevin will draw gnome boots in them if you're into that.
Kevin, do you mind saying goodbye to Facebook?
I would love to say goodbye to
Amen.
Stop spying on us.
You told them we would be here.
Anyway, yeah, hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it, and thanks for reading.